Hello, everybody. I am the Cricket Freak. I had to muster up a lot of courage and strength to make this episode today. Uh, Today's episode is going to be about Virat Kohli and his Test legacy. But I just want to say one thing at the outset that this episode is not. There's a lot of emotion involved in what I'm going to talk and all of that. So this is probably not coming from a neutral point of view. This is completely my opinion and my emotion, and I'm doing this because I wanted to keep this in the archives, and one day when I look back on today's date, I wanted to remember how I felt. Uh, since the last couple of days, I've been hearing about Virat Kohli's retirement. Supposedly, he has informed BCCI, and then they've tried convincing him to play for one more series. And then somebody spoke with him, and then again he gave his retirement or announced his retirement today, and all of that. So all of this drama was going on, but I remember the anxiety I felt a couple of days ago when I first heard the news. Virat Kohli is a guy who's very close to my heart. But Virat Kohli, the Test cricketer, is even more special for me. I've never had the interest as much as I had in ODI, in watching ODIs and T20s. I was not so interested in Test cricket at any point of time. I was too young when Sachin and Dravid and Kumble, all these guys used to play for us. And I know that they've all done a lot to Indian cricket, and their contributions are, you can never forget what they've done for the country. But when Virat Kohli became the captain of Indian Test team, it was like a statement, right? I remember the day when Dhoni gave away his Test captaincy. I think after Melbourne Test or Sydney Test, he decided to move on from that format in the middle of a series, and then there was one more Test left, and Virat was made the captain, and this was in Adelaide. Virat Kohli said that they're going to win, or they're going for the win, and then he scored 2 centuries in 2 innings of that Test match. For me, that was a statement. For me, that was Virat Kohli's vision for Team India, and he was walking the talk. We were down and out at that point, mind you, because we've already lost that series, and we still had to play for pride. And I remember how much India used to play for draws at that point of time. I don't remember a lot of occasions where India were desperate to win Test matches. Like most of the other countries in the world, India was also keen at drawing Test matches. With World Test Championship happening now, people who've started following cricket or Test cricket since 2019 would not understand the value of the words that I'm saying right now. Playing for a win was not normal at that point of time because there was no World Test Championship. So when you're playing a bilateral series, you're just playing it. There is no those points don't add up to an ultimate prize or as big as a World Test Championship. At the end of every year, depending on your ICC ranking, you would be called the best Test playing nation, and you would be given a Test mace, just like how people get after winning the World Test Championship. So back in the day, winning a Test match was not as important. You should not just lose it. That was the priority for the Indian team. They did not want to lose. They were okay with a draw. If they can get a win, very good. But if you get a draw, it's still great. But Virat Kohli changed the mindset of Indian cricket, or of how India plays Test cricket. And Virat Kohli did a lot of things differently in Test cricket. Because I started talking about his captaincy, let me just go on about it for a little more time, and then of course there's so much about his batting also. India was, I remember the times, even when we had a spin quartet in Bishan Singh Bedi, Chandrasekhar, L. Sivaramakrishnan, and Yerrapalli Prasanna back in probably 80s or late 80s. Even then, we were a spin bowling, predominantly a spin bowling unit. Even when we went to places like England, where there was nothing much for the spinners, we used to still play four spinners, and our pace unit was always a little weak, which is why we did not win so many games in the Sena countries. But the moment Virat Kohli took over as a test captain for India, we suddenly started to see a revolution of pace bowlers. And he did not manufacture pace bowlers from nowhere. We played the pace bowlers who were already there, but they were just playing so differently. Their intent was different. The hunger to win in their eyes was different. The hunger to get wickets was very different. Of course, Bumrah, Shami, these guys are world-class bowlers, but Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Ishant Sharma, Umesh Yadav, these were the players who were getting a lot of wickets. Umesh Yadav was lethal in Indian conditions. He used to bowl some extraordinary spells. Ishant Sharma in England, how can you forget those great moments? It was almost like a second coming for Ishant Sharma in 2021 when he went, and I remember the way he bowled. He used to get reverse swing, and he was a menace to left-handed batters. So all these things have changed when Virat Kohli became the captain of the Indian team. Our fast bowlers became lethal, and I remember Ravi Shastri saying that he wanted to not introduce Bumrah in India, even though there was a chance. He delayed the debut of Bumrah so that he'll be introduced directly in South Africa, and the world will see what a great red ball bowler Bumrah is, and rest is history. Bumrah is one of the best bowlers of red ball at this point, but let's not forget he was given his debut cap under Virat Kohli. So our fast bowlers have become very, very different. They started to look very different, and they used to always get 20 wickets more often than not. And then something that did not happen very often in the previous eras was that we never used to win a lot overseas. I remember 2007 we won the T20 World Cup under Dhoni. 2011 we won the of course the 50 over World Cup. 2013 we won the Champions Trophy. But in the test, in terms of test cricket, we were doing horribly bad. We lost 4-0 to Australia. We lost 4-0 to England. We lost a home series also, I think, if I'm not wrong, to England or Australia, one of the teams. And then we were in the 6th position when Dhoni left test captaincy. It was just because of the fact that we were not able to win overseas. We did not have any answers, because Dhoni was great with respect to rotating his spin bowlers and just getting the strategies right with the spin bowlers, but we did not have the bowlers to get 20 wickets overseas. And when this change came in, suddenly we looked a different team. We started to win. And how did we win? We won in Australia for the first ever time in the history under Virat Kohli. Okay, people will say that there was no Steve Smith and Warner, but their bowling was as good as ever. They had peak Hazelwood, peak Cummins, Nathan Lyon. Everybody was there, and Pujara got hundreds. Kohli got hundreds. Rohit Sharma was, I think he also played a game or two, and yeah, everything just went uh, so differently. And our bowlers, of course, Bumrah was great in that series, and I remember how good Ashwin was also. So we won in Australia, and then we won in England against England, and that was one hell of a series where we got. That's one of the greatest moments for me in Virat Kohli's captaincy career. That game in Lords and the one in Leeds, both the games, the way we won out of nowhere with a great bowling performance, the amount of aggression that Virat Kohli had, and the fear that he gave to the opposition, and after a point of time, I remember nobody used to sledge Virat Kohli because of the history, because of the past that he had with Mitchell Johnson, because of the past that he had with Mitch Stark, and with all those bowlers. He had some great fights, right? And there are very very few players, as few as only two, who have, or maybe just three, who have test hundreds in all the Sena countries, and Virat Kohli is one of them. I think Sachin has, and I'm not sure if even Rahul Dravid has. So yeah, so that's about how good a captain Virat Kohli was, and I really don't like the word selfless a lot, because it's been used it's been used a lot nowadays, and it's been used loosely also. But Virat Kohli is actually selfless for me, because he gave up his test captaincy because he thought he was not given the respect that he deserves at a time where he was one or two wins away from crossing Ricky Ponting's number of test wins, and he would have been the greatest ever test captain to ever to have played the game. And I still think he is, but for me he's an epitome of selflessness. I remember the times where he he used to, you know, he declared his innings at 248. I remember that game where he could have easily gotten 300, but and there was still time also, but he thought the team can still win if we declare right now. So there are numerous occasions which I can just go on and on about. But as a batter, Kohli as a test batter, people again who have started watching cricket post lockdown might not understand the magnitude uh, of the thoughts that I'm trying to convey right now. But if you had watched Kohli any time between 2014 and 2019, you would know how great a test batter Virat Kohli was. He would challenge himself every single time. He got out 5 times to James Anderson in 2012 or 2013 if I'm not, or 2014 if I'm not wrong. Went back 2018, gives a press conference, says I'm not gonna throw away my wicket to Jimmy Anderson again. He doesn't give his wicket away to Jimmy Anderson once in that series, and gets about 600 runs in that series with 4 or 5 hundreds. He has 7 test match hundreds in Australia. That's, I think, the most by any Indian batter, or second most after Sachin Tendulkar. In Border Gavaskar Trophy, he has 10 or 11 hundreds. These are some insane numbers. Out of his 30 hundreds, most of them came against great nations like South Africa, Australia, England and New Zealand. I think the only place where he did not excel as much as we thought was New Zealand, because he did not go a lot of times there, and 2020 series was a time when he got out cheaply, and that was the beginning of his sort of downfall in test batting. But until then, I remember he has a pink ball 100 too, and he has 8 double hundreds. That's just insane. And I remember there was a game, Border Gavaskar Trophy match in Ahmedabad against Australia, I think in 2023, where he got a 183 or something. He could have easily gotten to his 200 on that day, if not on losing out on partners in that game. So Virat Kohli, the test batter, also is like an inspiration to many, and he was the one who sort of gave me a lot of interest in watching test cricket. I watched test cricket religiously when Virat Kohli was playing. Not just for him, even when he was not batting. I used to just watch it for the fun of it, for the amount of ebbs and flows that are there in that happen in a match. So I remember feeling extremely happy on November 23rd when he got his last Test 100. Now, when I say it, I feel really bad that it was his last Test 100, but little did I know that it's going to be his last Test century, and that came in Perth. I thought this series is going to be a really big one for him, and I also saw Virat Kohli say that in one of his interviews that even he thought it's going to be one of his biggest series in Australia, but then it was just not meant to be. And the struggles that he had, in the hindsight, when I think what if Hazelwood didn't get injured, and what if Scott Boland did not play for Australia, and only if Hazelwood played, probably things would have been different, or they may not have been. Hindsight is always beautiful. But anyway, the amount of times he gave away his wicket to Scott Boland, every single time he would come out to bat and then he would leave those balls outside off stump, I would feel that, oh, this is the game. Kohli is going to come back. Kohli is not going to give up. This is not the Kohli I know. Kohli is again going to go for a century, or he's going to go for a win. He loves Australia, and especially when he was playing in Adelaide, I swear to God, I felt he's definitely getting to 100. But then again and again he got out to the same delivery. And at the end of that series, I mean, I'm not a person who looks at numbers and decides how good a player or how bad a player one is, but after the series was done, I actually thought that maybe this is the time Kohli should just give up, because he has tried a lot, but he also looked very frustrated with himself. So, but a lot of times this has happened, that I think Kohli is done and then he comes back roaring. So I thought maybe he's done now, but then he comes back to Mumbai and starts practicing with Sanjay Bangar with a red ball, starts practicing his back foot shots. I thought, I mean, what is this man even made of? At 36, he's just done with a horrible series. He can just give up on his career, but then, because there's literally nothing to prove. People will talk about his average falling down last 5 years, numbers, everything, but you can't take away the legacy that Virat Kohli had created. So he could have easily said, no, I'm done. But he comes back home, and guess what? He starts practicing with a red ball, starts practicing the same ball that he got out to in Australia. And then I thought, oh, he's going to give a comeback and England is going to be a big one. Goes back to play a Ranji Trophy match, trains exactly like he trains for an international match, goes to bat, doesn't score much, gets out to a bowler, Himanshu Sangwan. Probably little did Himanshu Sangwan also know that he was going to be the bowler who gets Virat Kohli for one last time in red ball cricket. Good on him. But then he again comes back, fields for whatever more time is left, and fields with the same intensity. I mean, when I look back, I just feel, what do you learn from Virat Kohli? This is exactly what you learn from Virat Kohli. Even when you know that probably it's curtains, you still give everything that you have to your job, because it doesn't matter. As long as you are on the field, you're playing to win, and you're giving your everything to that game. And that's what Virat Kohli taught us in especially in the red ball form of the game. I just feel Virat Kohli probably should have continued. And I also understand today, in the emotions that we are going through, it's common to feel that Virat Kohli could have played for a little longer and all of that. But the Virat Kohli I love would have exactly done this. This is the exact reason why I fell in love with this guy, because he said it time and again that the day I realize I'm not able to give my 120%, I'm not gonna play this game. And maybe he knew it. All of us cannot. All of us always have high hopes on him. And he has been bearing those burdens for and on his shoulders for 14 years now. And maybe he thought that even if I go and try, I might not be able to give my everything. And the moment he feels like that, he's gonna give up. And that's the Virat Kohli I love. So maybe that's the right decision for him. When I look back, I remember the day when he played in Sydney, that last innings where Bumrah was out because of the niggle that later turned out to be a big injury. Kohli was made the captain in that pink test, and pink, not the pink ball test, but the pink test that they play in Sydney. And I remember the intensity that he had on the field. Giving it back to the audience, giving it back to the players. He almost gave us a feeling that, oh, maybe we are gonna win this game out of nowhere. That's the captain I know. That's something I love about Virat Kohli, and I just feel so proud of him. I know a lot of fans have got angry today, listening or after hearing the news, but I just felt sad. I felt that, oh, this is how this had to come to an end. That's sad. On a personal note, I always wanted to watch Virat Kohli play a test match. It happened a couple of times that I wanted to go, and once I also went, and then he ended up not playing the game. So, just like his test career, I think, or just like how his 10,000 runs in test career, this also is perhaps not meant to be. I'm extremely sad today. I'm just lost with words. Every time I blink my eye, I see a lot of moments of joy that Virat Kohli gave me as a test cricketer, and a lot of moments of agony also. I remember that game, I think it was in Lords, where Sam Curran bowled a full length half volley on a full length ball on his 7th or 8th stump. He tried to drive it and nicked it off to the keeper. I remember the agony I felt on that day. I was like, why can he not avoid that? Why does he not know? Everybody in the world is able to see what he's doing. And it's very silly when I say it right now. I understand that it's not as easy as watching. Playing is much difficult. And I remember the agony I had watching the World Test Championship final against New Zealand that we lost. I was so gutted that we've tried so much in our life to get to an ICC trophy, and then somehow it was just not meant to be for Kohli, the captain. Same happened in 2019 final. Same happened in 2021 World Test Championship final against New Zealand. Every time somebody turns up, it was Kyle Jamieson in that final. I remember every single moment of Virat Kohli so fondly. The highs and lows that he gave me, especially in the last 7-8 years. I just feel so overwhelmed to think about all of that at this point. But amidst all this bucket of feelings, I'm extremely, extremely proud of Virat Kohli. And I'm proud of myself that I liked this person who doesn't care about whether he gets his 10,000 runs or not, whether he wins the most matches as a captain or not, whether he continues to play as long as he is fit or not. This is the guy who gives up on his career whenever he thinks he's not able to give his 100%. I'm so proud of myself for being a fan of a guy like Virat Kohli. Of course, there's ODI cricket left, and he's saying he wants to play the 2027 World Cup. But I know Virat Kohli, the day he feels that even in that format he's not able to give his 100%, he is going to give up. He is going to give up. And let's just brace ourselves if that day has to come. But the only regret of sort that I have is that Virat Kohli didn't get a farewell test match. Like James Anderson and David Warner and some other players recently got a farewell test. I wish Virat Kohli played the first test in England and said that this is going to be my last one. He would have tangibly seen the amount of love people have on him. He would have felt every single person's affection towards the player, towards the great player that Virat Kohli is. I'm sure people from England, Australia, everybody loves Virat Kohli, the player, because of the intensity he brings, and he's such a showman. And when you don't perform, all of that show feels like a circus. But the thing with Virat Kohli was that you knew he's a threat, especially in Test cricket. You knew that if he's set, he's gonna make sure you're losing. So I tried to put my feelings into words. There's still so much more that I can go on and on about Virat Kohli. But perhaps that's for another day, when he actually decides to finally hang his boots. But yeah, for now, I'm very emotional, and hopefully I'll get over this and I'll come to terms with the fact that I won't see my most favorite person in the white jersey again. But that's how life is. So thank you for listening. I hope this was not too much for all of you. See you in the next episode.